Hi everyone and welcome to another Chat with Charnie. Today we'll be discussing the differences between being a consultant for a company and working directly for a company. So the reason why I'm discussing that today is because I think a lot of us have been seeing on our LinkedIn feeds the title Senior Consultant at X. And I've actually been receiving quite a few questions in terms of what is the difference of working as a consultant and for a company. What's the benefits? What are the differences? What are the cons? So today we'll be discussing those differences and hopefully it gives you a bit more insight as to the role of a consultant. Let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to note is that you'll have two bosses but one employer. So let's give these names, right? So company X is the employer. This is the company that you actually signed your contract with. Company Y is the company that's been contracted by, that has contracted company X so that you can work for them. So let's put it in plainer terms. You signed a contract with company X, right? They'll be paying your salary every month, right? But now they have contracted you out to company Y so that you can work for company Y or with company Y for the duration of your contract or for a portion of time of your contract. So in my experience, because I've done this, I've been working as a consultant for the past 3 years. I have not actually, there hasn't been any downfalls that I haven't found it really tricky to work with this two bosses concept. The only thing that I used to question is who do I tell what to, or who do I communicate my issues to? And my go-to has always been the company that I actually signed my contract with, the company that is paying me. And in our scenario, this is company X. So if I'm maybe unhappy about something, even if it's related to company Y, I would go to wherever my line manager is at company X and discuss it with them. They can then provide me with advice in terms of, look, this is something that we need to deal with because we have the relationship with the client, or this is something that you need to discuss with your line manager at company Y with. So my opinion and my advice is that if you find yourself in a situation where you are a consultant, always go back to company X, the company that you signed your contract with, and provide them with your grievances and the things that you're maybe unhappy with, the things that you have questions about. Because remember, it's also important that you present or represent your company well, and in this case it's company X, and that takes us through to point number 2. So point number 2, who do I represent and when do I represent them? So this is something that you're really going to have to manage, because in our scenario, at all times to company Y, do you as a consultant represent company X. That means the way that you conduct yourself in meetings, your performance in terms of the quality of your work is always going to be a reflection of company X. Now, these two situations and these two situations / scenarios I've actually found myself in. So scenario 1 is that you only represent company X, and this means that you're contracted to company Y, but you do not communicate or have any contact with a third-party client, for example. So I did this for about a year, where I worked in the financial accounting department for a company in the States while I was living there, and I didn't see any third parties. I was only working for company X's client. And in that sense, I was always representing company X when it was my presentation skills, the quality of the work that I was producing. All of that was always going to be a reflection on company X, because I didn't see any third-party clients. I only saw company Y all the time, and my work remained internal. It never went to an external party. So now fast forward to the last year, I've been working with I had been working with company Y, but I was also seeing third-party clients. So this was clients of company Y. So now to company Y, I was at all times representing company X. but now to my third party client to whom my work was being presented to, and now my work had an external what do we call them? There was an external party that my work had to go to, and they would then use that. They would use my output as part of their results, as part of what they would show their management. Because I then worked as a consultant, also as a financial accountant, well, in this case, a technical accountant. And I had to provide them with information as in terms of this is how you need to account for revenue, this is how you need to account for your leases. So there was a third party now. And at that point in time, or during all my communications with a third party, I was now representing company Y. So whatever company Y stood for and their quality of work, I had to make sure that I presented that and I represented that well to the third party. In that instance, where there's any questions in terms of how do I communicate with a third party, what is the best form of communication with a third party, what does the third party expect, I'm not going to go to company X. In this case, I'm not going to go to company X and ask them, but I'm going to go to company Y because that's their client. Okay, so in terms of who do I represent, when do I represent, it's always dependent on, is there a third party client or is there not a third party client? But at all times, because even if you're working for the third party, you're also still working for company Y. And in that sense, you still need to always represent company X. I hope I made that clear. If I did not, please leave me a message or send me a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram, and I will gladly send you a voice note about it or a message. But yeah, let's go on to number 3. So this is something that is always going to pop up, right? Leave requests. I need PTO, I want to go on holiday, I want to take that long weekend, an extra day in the long weekend. Who do I communicate that to? Well, since you got 2 bosses, you need to communicate it with both X and Y. So it depends entirely upon the process at the company that you're working for. It might be that you first need to obtain approval from company Y, as to say, hey, can I get these days off? Because the thing is, you're working directly with company Y. Your output affects them and affects their results and maybe how they bill their clients. And also your output also determines, affects their deadlines. So you would then consult with company Y first and say, hey, I would like to get these days off, and then they'll approve it. And then you go to company X, which is the company that pays you, and you say, hey, I want Friday and Thursday off, and company Y has already approved it, so we should be good to go. And then they'll approve it, and then you're good to go on your long holiday or whatever you want, whatever you need. So I know that can be tricky sometimes, because oftentimes you ask yourself, who do I need to ask for that I want leave? You cannot bypass company Y. Remember that. It's always going to have to be, you're going to have to ask company Y, is it okay that I have leave? Is it okay that I have PTO? Then you go to company X. If you first go to company X, they're probably going to tell you, but have you spoken to company Y about it? Have they approved it? So because you got 2 bosses, you need to ask 2 people that if you can have leave. And obviously it's also dependent on how many leave days you have left or PTO days you have left. Before we get into the last bit, let's discuss your performance. Your performance is always going to be based on the work that you performed and the output that you provide to company Y. So the quality of work that you produce, how well you communicate with them, is always going to impact your performance. How well you train those that are on a lower level than what you are. So if you are a supervisor, you contracted as a supervisor to your client, which I was, I had to make sure that the seniors on my team, that they knew what to do, that I was coaching them so that they could perform their work to the same level that I would potentially perform the work if I was doing it. So just keep that in mind. Your performance review is always going to come from company Y. Company X will then take that and they will base whatever salary increase or whatever bonus structure that you have on that. So always keep that in mind. Always do your best. Always strive to work hard. Ask questions. Just because you're working for a different company doesn't mean that you shouldn't be asking questions. Remember, your output directly affects what they bill their client or how they bill company X, and when I say they, I mean company Y. So always ask company Y questions. How do you do this? How do I analyze this? I'm getting stuck in writing this particular memo. Is there maybe a standard or a guide that I can look at? Can you show me how I'm supposed to do this? Are there any examples maybe from prior year or from a different company that has had a similar transaction that you can provide me with? Those are the type of questions that you need to be asking, or just saying, hey, I'm stuck. I need help. I've been like racking my brain for the past 15 minutes. I'm not getting anywhere. Can you please help me? Okay, so yeah, that's it. The last one, which is the fun one. Now you have 2 teams to socialize with, and this is the team from company X that's probably been contracted to company Y. So this is your internal, your local team that you get to socialize with on Teams if you're working remotely, or in the office if you're working with them. It's people that you probably have more of an affiliation towards because you work for the same company, maybe you're from the same place, area, same country, and when I say country, I'm talking about probably being a consultant leaving South Africa and going to another country in that regard. And then you have the consultants, or rather the employees of company Y that you also get to socialize with, that you learn more about them, learn more about their experiences. But that also means that if you're like an introverted extrovert, the way I am, it means that you have 2 types of socials to attend. One locally with your in-house group, and then one with company Y, and that can socially drain you, but it is fun. You get to learn about many different things, about different people, their experiences, and it's always great to socialize on that level and then go home, which is what I prefer. Thank you guys for tuning in to Chat with Charnie. I am so happy that you chose to come back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since I've been back, but I appreciate all of you, all the messages asking me, where are you? Why aren't you producing videos any longer? But yeah, it's been great. Please follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, leave any messages, comments, anything that you'd like to see in the future. Let me know as well, and I'll gladly make those videos for you guys. Have a great day. God bless. Bye.